Hello everyone. It's Jackie with Pocket of Preschool. Tonight we are talking all about how to teach letters and sounds and all those literacy skills, which kind of go with them, right? How to teach letters and sounds without using letter of the week, and this is part 3. This is our third kind of episode, I guess you would call it, of this series. And tonight we're going to focus all about how to teach letters and sounds using students' name. And we all know, especially little learners, more and more people anyways are these. They are super egocentric. Like, it's all about them. So if you use their name to help them teach letters and sounds, it's just more powerful and more meaningful for them, right? Because if we have engaged, excited kiddos that are engaged in the activity, they're going to learn a ton more than if they were bored and not zoning you out. They're not going to learn anything. So we got to make it fun, exciting, and meaningful for them. And using students' names is the perfect way to do that. So what I want you to do is pop in the comments, what's your favorite name activity you do in your classroom? I love hearing your ideas, and maybe your idea will spark another idea for another teacher too. So let's learn from each other tonight too. So like I said, this is the third part of our Teaching Letters and Sounds series. So the first 2 sections, we covered mostly strategies on what you can do, like, creating a print-rich environment. I'll just kind of go over a couple. Creating a print-rich environment, using message or morning message, doing shared or interactive writing, having writing tools and letters, manipulatives all over your classroom, making the walls rich with environmental print that's meaningful, using those predictable charts and poems, like they are on Question of the Week or Question of the Day, using letters and sound songs during music and movement, using those quick transition times for those quick letter games, making class book, using letter manipulatives, playing those letter and sound activities that are related to each theme, which we know we do a ton of those, right? We loved our themed games, literacy games. And then, practicing handwriting and practicing working on letter formation, all those activities too, help us teach letters and sounds. So we're doing all of those awesome things. And if you want the handout that I'm kind of looking as my cheat sheet off of, at the top of this post, you can download it, and there's links to different things. There's freebies on there. And then also too, there's also a link to my Amazon storefront thing. So you can check out all my favorite literacy tools and manipulatives there. All right, so using students' names. So at the beginning of every year, I make tons of name cards. So the first kind I make are the ones with their pictures. And we've been talking about how we use those. And this is a freebie. So it's in the handout, the link's in the handout, or you can hop over to my TPT store and grab it. But I do uppercase on one side, lowercase on the other side. I just cut them out and glue them together and then laminate them. That's why there's a nice, beautiful edge. And then I make like 3 or 4 sets. You can put them in a bucket, and then you can use them as like a calling stick, like, oh, who do you think this is? Oh, Charlie, okay, it's your turn. Do this, and or maybe this is how you call on people at circle, or take turns, something like that. So you can use them for that at circle, for voting. So maybe you're doing a graph, anchor chart, and they're voting. So you can pick these cards, and they can come up and vote. And if you cover up the name, they have to pay attention and either read it, or their friends can shout it out. So it's kind of like it works for both. And then I also keep them in my writing center during the first couple weeks of school. Behind me is my writing table, and you can see I have a black pocket chart, and I just have my kiddos are home and they love construction, so I put my construction themed word cards in there, and all of my themed center packs have theme related vocabulary words, and there's an uppercase set and a lowercase set. But the first week of school, I put these name cards in the pocket chart, because that's what they're excited about, right? They want to write their friends' names, like maybe around Valentine's or the holidays, and they're making cards, or they're making Valentine's with their friends. Put these names in your pocket chart at your writing center. And they'll and show them like, hey, you guys can look, you can take it out. It's not a big deal. Because you know sometimes our if things look pretty, they don't want to mess it up. But in my class, like they can take it out, pull it down, they can put it back, they can mix them up. There's no real order to them. And I actually did a whole blog post on how I use these cards too, so I'll pop that in after this. But sometimes during back to school, like I literally just take these cards and I put them in the middle of the table, and then I just put out letter manipulatives all around. Maybe it's magnet letters and cookie trays. Maybe it's lacing beads with my real teacher life right here with pipe cleaners and strings. Strings for the older kids, pipe cleaners for the younger kids who need more fine motor help. Maybe it's the giant magnet letters. Maybe I put out, what? Maybe I put out like letter Legos, and these are from Lakeshore. I know everybody's been kind of asking me about them, and I want to say you can always make your own, like just get a whole bunch of the squares and either put a letter sticker on them, or just write it in like a marker pen, so you don't have to have it. Only thing with this, they are on the top, so when they make it, there you go, so you can see it from the top. So if you make your own, they'll be on the side, which that's fine too, because then they can like stack and make like name towers, which is super fun. I think Discount School Supply has these, because Lakeshore's set only has lowercase letters, which is hard for my 3-year-olds. But I want to say Discount School Supply has letter Legos that are uppercase and lowercase, which of course I found after I bought these. So yeah, so I just put these out all over the table, and they just make their name, they make their friends' names. You can also, another thing that's really fun for building names is making them in kinetic sand. And I posted a video of one of my kiddos doing kinetic sand, and I think it was with our summer vocabulary. But so you put the name cards out, and then I just put kinetic sand, and all of these ideas work for word work too. So if you're doing sight words or anything like that, all these ideas work for sight words too. Once they have all their letters and sounds, then you can use all these for sight words. But I just put some kinetic sand in a tub, and I want to say Target has kinetic sand in the summer section. It's like colored, I think, but I keep sometimes kinetic sand in these pencil tubs, because you can take them easily on and off the shelf. If a big clump falls out, like usually you can pick it up pretty easy, so that's what I like about kinetic sand, like if sand trays are really hard for your class. And then they use the letters, and I didn't flatten it out, you have to flatten it out first. And you can see it. It's a little bit hard to see probably on, oh, there's the L, there it is. So they just, here's the other trick. Kind of like a card holder, the lid, so they can put that on the table and make their word or make their name and do it. And as you're doing all of these activities, rather than having them just make the name, talk about those letters, talk about the sounds, like say, oh wow, look, Chase and Charlie, you guys both have a C at the beginning, and look, you both have a CH. CH makes the ch sound. Or like next year, I have a lot of C's. I have Cruz and I think Christine. So I can be like, Cruz and Christine, look, you guys both have C's at the beginning of your name, but look, the letters make a little bit different sounds, and you can talk about how sometimes letters make a little different sounds. Or letters can make different sounds if they're paired with a friend. Once you start talking about the letters, and once they start, and they hear you talking about the letters, and they're like, oh, look, you have a C. Oh, look, I have a C. Oh, you have an A. I have an A. Look, I have an E at the end. Oh, you have an E at the beginning. And they're just going to have all these amazing conversations about letters, and they're going to be excited, and it's going to be meaningful, because they're, it's their name and their friend's name. Like, what's more important than your name, right? So these are super, super fun. And these are also perfect to put in the art center. So like put them on a ring, and then like a little magnet, or put them on a board in the art center. And because students struggle at the beginning of the year making their names on their artwork or on the back of their paper, wherever they're doing their work. Put these name cards out and say, oh, look here, let me get your name card out, and this will help you write your name. And if they're struggling writing their name, I usually only have them write the first letter, and then we keep going from there. So let's say Charlie was a 3-year-old, and he's really struggling with his name. He doesn't know it, he doesn't recognize it, he needs his picture on there. I'd be like, hey, let's make that big C on the back of your paper, because if you see papers with big C's on it, you're gonna know it's Charlie's. And then after the C, have him be like, oh, you're really good at that C, let's make the C and then the H for Charlie. And once you model getting these cards and using them around the classroom, or using them for art, or using them for maybe you're doing like a name craft, pull these out and say, oh, look, here, name crafts is actually on my list to talk about tonight anyway. So let's say you're making these, you're doing a space theme and you're making rocket names. Well, pull these out and give them to the kiddos who need them. Because after they put all the letters on, or maybe you have them glue first, kind of depends on what you want to do when you're doing name crafts. You can either have them put it all together and then write it. Put these out for support. That way they're not like clueless, like, what do I do? Like, make them more independent and give them some skills so they can, even though they don't know how to write their name yet or the order of their name, they can figure it out because they can use the name cards. Now, will they need help at first? Absolutely. But eventually, they'll be able to use their name card to write their name independently, and then later on, they'll be writing their name independently without any help. So these are really great for if you're doing a name craft. I have name crafts in some of my math and literacy packs, which is great because name crafts, they have to put it in order. They have to talk about, it's a great time to talk about each letter. Notice what letters in your friend's name, what letters in your name. Oh, my rocket's the longest. Oh, you must have a long name. Let's count how many letters are in that name. Who has the shortest name? Let's count how many letters. This is in my Space Centers pack. I want to say my Insect Centers pack has a caterpillar name craft. These Cutie Patootie Snowman, Snowman name crafts it's a freebie in the Facebook group. Just go to the Facebook group and either find the Files tab at the top if you're on mobile, or the side if you're on desktop. I want to say there's also a train name craft freebie in the Facebook group too. And name crafts are great because then they're cutting, you're sneaking in fine motor too, because they're doing literacy, doing the letters, putting their name in order, and they're doing fine motor by cutting and then following directions, obviously, since it's a name craft. They have to, put it in order and follow those directions. So these, like I said, are on TPT, they're in PowerPoint. Yeah, and I will try to make more name crafts because I know everybody's been asking for them. So the new center packs that come out this year, I will try and put some name crafts in those. Thing that's super simple to help them learn their name and learn the letters is these name mats. And I did a blog post last week, so I'll pop that in after this. But make a set or two at the beginning of the year, and then you can use them all year for all kinds of different ways to build their names. And before I do this, I want to tell you about how I color code. Where is my stack? I can't find it. Oh, it's hiding from me. Okay. I'm like surrounded. So, at the beginning of the year, I have 3-year-olds, and a lot of them don't know their name yet. So, I have a kind of like a rainbow theme in my classroom. So I make every kiddo, as much of them, their things, the same color as I can. So like his, like Austin was yellow, and so his job clip will be yellow. His star for question of the week will be yellow. This was his journal, it was yellow. This was his name card or name mat, that was yellow. His name on his cubby is yellow. The journal we used at the end of the year was yellow. His family name tag is yellow. any like pockets I have around the classroom, those are yellow. So that way, even if he doesn't know his water cup is yellow, which some of them I don't have every color of the rainbow for cups, but I'm doing pretty good on getting almost all of them. They have rainbow color cups at Walmart and IKEA, just as a tidbit. But that way, maybe you have a class of 20, and maybe you have 4 yellow stars or 3 yellow stars. You can be like, hey, Austin, find the yellow star with the A at the front. So he can go find the yellow star, and he'll be like, oh, here's a yellow star. Oh, that has a T. Or he might not know it's a T, but he's like, oh, not an A. And he'll find another one. Oh, not an A. Oh, here's a yellow star, and there's an A. This one must be mine. So it's a really easy way for them to slowly start to find their things. I know some teachers also give everybody like a clip art icon, or some kind of like picture or sticker, and that's how they label their stuff around the room. Oh, and I use the color codes for sign-in too. And I have a whole video on how I do sign in the morning. I'll pop that in after this. And you can totally use this with 2-year-olds. I think it would totally work because it would help with color identification too. So yeah, so like if Austin, like let's pretend Austin's 3, because he'll be in pre-K now. He'll be one of my pre-K friends next year. But at the beginning of the year, Austin, he was just writing his A. So he went to the sign-in page that had the yellow A on it, and he just wrote that yellow A. And maybe Sally, maybe she doesn't know her name either, but all of her stuff is pink. So she'll walk around and find the sign-in sheet with the pink S or the pink SA, whatever level she's at on her name. So color coding helps too. And they're also gonna start like looking at the characteristics of that letter. So, and that's how they learn the letter, right? They have to realize that an A has a straight line, and a line across the middle. Like it's not wiggly like an S. So they have to learn those characteristics. So by them going around, I'm going, okay, this yellow letter doesn't have straight lines. They may not know that name of that letter yet, but he might have it a little bit visually in his brain just to know that it's a letter with straights. It's a letter that has straight things on it. So you can go around and do that. And you'll be surprised at how many 3-year-olds will learn their name quicker when you label more things in the classroom. So since I know everybody's always asked me, so we do a lot. We do focus on uppercase letters at the beginning of the year, and then that pre-K year, I transition my pre-K kiddos to lowercase. So I make 4 sets of name cards or name mats. So I make one set, and again, color coded, so that's why they're rainbow. And it just has like the black thick line. And then I have another set that has that bubble, so that like these would be like great for like tracing. And then I make lowercase sets too, because I found like if I'm doing all the name stuff, I might as well do all of it at the beginning of the year. If I'm making a lowercase set, just real quick duplicate those slides in PowerPoint and select all caps, and then I can print it all and laminate it all at once. And I'm done. And yes, I am closed over the summer. And you can do this too. Like let's say your theme is like cool. Somebody said their theme was cool watercolors. Like, so let's say you're doing like green and blue, like light blue, dark blue, and purple. You can still color code. You're just not gonna have as many colors to choose from, and that's okay. Like do what works for you, what works for your classroom and your kiddos. So I make uppercase sets and I make a lowercase set. And here, and I know you guys are gonna think like this looks boring. Nobody would pick that during dinners. And let me show you, and then I'll tell you my story. So this is actually from last year. Here was Mr. Kyler's, and I just put these in dry erase pockets. I threw some dry erase markers in the bottom with my erasers, and here's my trick for dry erase markers. Cut up a black t-shirt, and then you won't see how gross they get. And then you can just pop them in the washer, and you'll never know the difference. Yeah, and you can't see how nasty they are. Yeah, black t-shirt cut up. Free eraser. Okay, you don't have to go to the dollar store and buy all those little cute ones. Just cut up black shirts. Okay, side note. You guys know I get off track. I probably have ADD. Like, seriously. Oh my gosh, I get so sidetracked. But anyways, So I just have everybody's name and a dry erase pocket, and I have had a 3-year-old last year. I would say at least, I was 3 days a week to start off. So I was Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I will be again next year, and I am mornings. I would say at least 2 out of those 3 days every week for open centers when she can pick to play with anything in the classroom. This is what she picked. And she would write her name, she would make her friend's name, and then she would, another great thing about having them in pockets is they can write it here, and then they, oh sorry, you probably can't hear me. Then they can write it above independently, and they can write it below independently. Or you can write it, and then they can rainbow trace it. So it's great, because then they have room to do it independently. But you guys, she would pick this twice a week. Like, that's awesome. A 3-year-old who is picking a writing center independently without prompting. Like, she loves it. Like, because it's student names. Like, they're her friends' names. They're her name. So she got that writing in, and she was learning her letters. So I'm telling you guys, it doesn't look very exciting to us, but it is so exciting to them. And one thing I do want to say is, some people are like, oh, they don't go to the library center. Well, do you go play in the library center? Like, if you go play in the library center with them and you model having fun and you make the games exciting and giggle and laugh and actually have fun with them in the library center, they will pick it. Because if you're in the library center and you're bored, or maybe that's the one center you never go play with the kiddos in, they're gonna figure out you don't like that center. Like, I could play in blocks all day, every day. Love the blocks in block center. Library, not my favorite. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Because I love to build, and it's just so much fun. But anyways, but I make it a point to come to the library center once a day, and I have to make sure I do it, because otherwise I won't. I come and I have fun, and guess what? My kids pick library. And sometimes I do have to figure out the materials and things, like what interests them. Maybe they don't like the dry erase markers because of the squeaky sound, because you know how some kiddos don't like weird sounds. But maybe put out the name cards, and maybe they love space or pumpkins or robots or whatever. Or maybe they love food. Find some of those mini erasers and put them out with these, and they can use these to build their names with mini erasers. These mini erasers, I want to say, are from Party City. And I buy my mini erasers from Oriental Trading and Party City, and then the Target Dollar Spot. So they just make their name with the mini eraser. And look, guys, fine motor. So they're doing fine motor, and they're making their name. They're making their friends' names. What else? Where's that? So let's say you have a boy, because boys, and I'm not being stereotypical, but some boys just don't have an interest in writing, so you have to make it fun for them. So what do some boys love? Rocks. So put out rocks with these, and they can make their name with something they love. Rocks. And these rocks are just from the dollar store, nothing fancy, guys. And y'all know I'm allergic to everything, so I buy nature instead of finding it outside and bringing it in. So they can make their name in rocks, or their friends' names in rocks. You can also use these with shaving cream. You can use them with, make that clean mud and put some brown dye in it, and it can be real mud. Well, they can think it's real mud. But yeah, build it with all different things. What are some other things you can do with these? Put this back here. Open something I spilled, so give me 1 second. You can also, where is it? So I also print off paper copies, and I print off extra. That way, if I decide last minute, you know how you drive to work? Well, I don't drive to work anymore because it's in my house, but let's say you drive to work and you think of something awesome that would be so fun, like a fun way to do name cards. Have some extra ones printed, ready to go, and I just print off some extra sets. I have just the ones with the bubble letters, And then I have uppercase, I have lowercase. And you can give different kids different ones. Like maybe you're gonna give your pre-K kiddos lowercase today. Maybe you're gonna give them uppercase. And then I have the black line too. Q-tip paint their names. How much fun is that? Q-tip paint their names. Use dot markers. This is a super fun. These are really fun for that morning arrival activity. Put one out, and if they can't recognize their name yet, pop these cards above it, so that way they'll have a picture cue on which one it is. Susan, I haven't, knock on wood, I hope that's real wood. I haven't had a problem with anybody putting mini erasers in their mouth, but if you do, I wouldn't use them. I haven't had any issues with that yet. Now, some years you have chewers just because they need that oral stimulation. So maybe give them, let them get a drink, or give them something chewy before you put out the mini eraser activity. And maybe you only do it for a small group, like they're not out in centers. But if you give them like a Tootsie Roll or something before, they'll chew and they'll get that oral stimulation. That way when you put out the mini erasers, hopefully they won't eat them because they do look kind of fun. So yeah, so side note, I told you I get distracted. Okay, so these are, it's literally the same file as these, and I just printed these on colored paper. So, so you can Q-tip paint, you can do dot markers, you can do stickers. Now, I will say on the stickers, if you do this at the beginning of the year, be prepared because their hands are gonna get tired. So say, we're only gonna do half of it today and then tomorrow do the rest. Don't do it so much, or don't do really any activities where they get so bored or so frustrated or their fingers get so tired where their hands get so tired that they're just done. Okay, so stickers are great. Rainbow Rite with markers. That's really fun. You can also just do them if you don't, just do them on, you can tell I do these, use these all the time. You can just put them on white paper if you don't want to mess with all the colors. Another fun thing to do is make name puzzles with them. And this is why I really don't have a lot of name things in my TPT store, because I use these name cards for almost everything. So I took the name card and I just did this one as an example because I let the kiddos take them home this year, and I just cut them up. And so Molly has hers, and you can actually you can laminate envelopes. So just put it in the lamination pouch or slide it through the laminator, and then use like an X-Acto knife to cut open the slit, and then you can put it in your what are these envelopes, won't get all busted up and torn all year. So yeah, so and then you can color code it like always, green, and then Molly. And this also works too, if they put it above the name, they'll kind of know what letter to look for next too. And just make sure when you make them that all the cuts are different. So that way, like if you do all straight lines, that would be probably more for a kinder class. Because my 3-year-olds, if they all fit together, they won't notice that the letters are out of order. So yeah. So make all the cuts different, or make them the same if you have higher level kiddos. So those are some fun name things, right? You can also take these or take these and put out, checking the time, sorry guys, put out hair gel baggies or paint baggies. So these have been around for like ever, for like sensory bags. I know a lot of kids just like move them. I think this one was from Halloween, and there's an eyeball in it. But yeah, so put it on a flat surface. Here, let me try and I'll do one. Move all my stuff so maybe you can see it. So all they do is they can't see it. So we'll pretend this is my table. So they just flatten it out, and they love that because it's all squishy. And then like they make their S for Sarah, and then they can squish it. And then they can make their A, and then they squish it. So my one, I get hair gel at the dollar store, like the clear hair gel, and then I just put a couple drops of either liquid watercolor in it or food coloring, and it makes it the colors. That's why I have black. You can put eyeballs in it, you can put glitter in it. Don't put anything pokey in it that will like puncture the bag. You can also make big gallon baggies. You can, instead of Peridot, put paint inside. But make sure you zip it and then tape it shut. You could also use duct tape to tape it shut, which is super fun. So in some of my writing packs, I have like build-it games, and a lot of them come with sight word cards. But any of my sight word games, you can also use with student names, which is so exciting, right? Because some kiddos, our 3-year-olds are not ready for sight words, but they can totally build their name. And like this one comes with these little rock letters, and they always come uppercase and lowercase, so you pick out what you want to do. And they basically just take the letter rocks and they build their name and put the name cards out. If they don't know how to spell their name, you can put name cards out for support. Or they usually come with blank cards too, so you can write their name on them if you want to do that. So that's really fun. You can also use these where they can build it and then have them write it in the sensory bag, or maybe write it on a dry erase board. So they're building it and then writing it. That's always fun. Some of my packs have read, build, write boards. They can read, build. They don't have to do sight words. Have them do their names. Have them do their friends' names. Just put out these cards and then have them build their name with the rocks, and then they write it at the bottom. Super, super easy. So, and I put a name, like we've been all about literacy and letters and names and sounds, so why not make a name stew? So this is something you could put out. It's not theme related, so you can put it out anytime during the year, and this will be an autofill. That you would type their names on the cards, and you can do uppercase or lowercase, and then have your spoon. And okay, so I need to, I guess, hot glue it on because it was stuck earlier. So your spoon will have a magnet, probably longer. This was one I used for one of the letters too. So let's say you have Jude. I made these letter mats, so that way it's kind of like an organized chaos on the letters. So they would have Jude, and then they would find the letters, and they can stick it. J-U-D, oh yeah. My other spoon had a longer one on it. So you'll just hot glue a magnet on there, and then it would say Jude, and then you can have them check it on the card, J-U-D-E, J-U-D-E, and you can have them say the letters in their name, and then they get to dump all the letters in, and then they can mix their stew. And how fun is that? Okay, it's probably gonna drive us crazy, the sound, but they're gonna love it. So that's all that matters, right? And then when they put them back, they're also now matching the letters on the board. And these letter stew mats are gonna come with it. There's gonna be an uppercase board, a lowercase board, a board with upper and lowercase. Ooh, Leslie said a paint stick might work better. Yeah, might be a good idea. Or you could use a metal spoon too, that would work. So this will be a separate pack. It's actually there. I'm making a whole pack of just literacy stew. So there'll be a letter stew, a sound stew, and name stew, and a sight word stew. So it's super, and then like a letter sorting type of stew. So like, how fun is this? Like, they get to cook their name, like, and look, the magnets don't fall off, which is the most important part, right? So yeah, so you can do like letter stew games, and then you can do this for table time. And all these, like, again, can be used for table time. So yeah. Where else? Oh, so question of the day is another way that I like to include students' names. Some of my questions include, like, I'll show you this one. So this one is, does your name begin with the same sound as kite? So they have to think about their name. Jackie, kite, nope, it's different. So they have to put, like, Jackie, me, would have to put my name, my star name on the no side. So, and then I have another one, like, that is how many letters are in your name. And so that one is, do you have 5 letters in your name, yes or no? So now they're counting the letters in their name. Another one is, I don't have it. Yeah, I think those might be the only two. I can't remember. Oh, beginning sound, counting the letters in their name. Yep, those are the only two. But yeah, so that's another fun way to include on students' names. And let's see, am I missing anything? Kelsey says, what brand of letters do you use? Click that Amazon link and I'll put it in after this and it'll be there. I just like these because they're colorful and they're small, but the color letters, I will say they do come with numbers in them, but then you just get numbers too. This brand does also have the red and blue, like the red I think are like the vowels and then the blue are all the consonants. So those are fun too. So yeah, trying to think, is there any other name thing I missed? So you can build the names all kinds of different ways. Use those name cards for activities, for support. Use the name mats. So yeah. All right, so I think, did I make the drip pan? So this guy is actually a metal drip pan from Walmart, and I sanded it a little bit, and then I painted it with black chalkboard paint in case we want to use it as a chalkboard. If you sand it a little bit, it won't chip off as bad. I have a few little chips, but not bad. So yeah, it's held up pretty good. So yeah, ooh, another one. So so my pre-K kiddos, and this will be really good for kinders, I have these sound magnets from Amazon, and they're really fun because you can spread them out on the table, and instead of putting the magnet letter on, here, I'll find somebody with an A. Look at that. So maybe Taryn, instead of finding the letters, maybe she has to find the sound objects. So then she can go t, a, n. So that way she can do all the sounds individually and then go Taryn and stretch it out that way. You can also, if you have little letter tubs or maybe mini eraser, some people have made mini eraser alphabet sets, which is amazing. So you can use any kind of like alphabet set you have, but these are just like sound object magnets from Amazon. So yeah, that way you kind of get in some sounds too. Yeah, I think that is all. And I think, let me look, oh, we talked about, I got stuff around me. So we talked about the sensory, sensory bags. You can also use sand trays, and I always get the question, where do you get your sand trays from? This is actually from a Melissa and Doug, I don't know if you can see it without me spilling the sand everywhere. It's from a Melissa and Doug lacing set. But you can just put sand in it. You can put rice in it. You can put rice in it. You can put sand in it, rice. You can do salt. You can do colored sand. And some kids like to use their finger. Some kids do not. So I always put an object in the tray also. And it actually is really great for their pencil grasp. So then they can make like the first letter in their name and then shake to erase. And my rule because everybody always asks, how do I not have them get the sand trays all over? My rule is that sand trays always have to be glued to the table. So when they erase, if my hand's the table, they have to shake it flat. So that's my rule. And they will spill, and it's not a big deal. You just pick it up and move on. So yeah, but you can use sand, salt. But that's another fun way. Make the first letter, shake to erase. Make the second letter, shake to erase. So yeah. And all these too, a lot of these are really good for letter formation practice. And another reason why I do a lot of uppercase at the beginning of the year is because I try and get that motor memory down to make sure they're making all their letters the right way, like top, from like top to bottom. Not making like crazy little lowercase e's or anything like that. So, so when you're doing names, really hone in on how they're making their name, because it'll take you forever to fix a letter if they practice it wrong every single time. So just do a fun tracing activity, do the rainbow names or something like that, and really like model it one time and then have them do it. Do you cover it with a Ziploc baggie? Nope, I don't cover them. I usually have about 2 to 4 sand writing trays just sitting on my shelf in the writing center, and it's okay. If you are worried about the mess, put it in a pencil box, and that way it'll shut. So that way if it does get bonked off the shelf, it hopefully doesn't all go out, just some of it gets out. So yeah, just put it in a pencil box, and then close it up, and then use the top of the pencil box when it's open for kind of like a card holder space. Another fun thing, and I don't know if you guys have used these before, but you guys have magnet bingo chips. They're super fun for math. And I know you think like magnets, math, like you can use them for like a cover-up game. So they roll the dice, they pick out 5, and they put them on their board, and then at the end, they can use the magnet wand to clean off their board, and who gets more excited than cleaning off their board with magnets? So why not make your name with magnets? And these, a lot of them are like translucent, so they're fun on the light table too. And you can also print these name cards on, is it vellum or that transparency paper? And you can put these on the light table, and they can trace it with those like pony beads or something. But look at this, watch. How fun is that? So they can make their name also with bingo markers, because if we keep mixing it up and they keep doing the names, eventually they're gonna learn them, right? Here's hoping anyways. So you guys have a fabulous night.